Job layoffs are rising, especially in manufacturing, construction, and retail, but there are industries that are hiring workers. Joining us now to discuss that is Peter Alcide, the president of Hecht, a unit of Adecco, the world's largest staffing company. Mr. Alcide, welcome to Bloomberg News.
Good morning.
Sir, let's begin with that number that Carol was just mentioning, 467,000 in June. What's your initial reaction to that?
Surprise. We had 4 straight months of downward trend. The trend was the most important here. So it was a jump up. We were surprised on the positive side in May, and now we're surprised on the negative side. On the positive side, the number is, if you look at the average for the second quarter, less than 500,000 compared to the average in the first quarter of about 700,000.
And I believe the word that Christina Romer used when we interviewed her earlier today was moderating job losses.
Yes.
Tell me about what these numbers are saying to you in terms of staffing and what we are seeing going forward.
Well, I think that, when you look at the job market, I think you have to look at some different factors. There's 3 basic factors. It's, where you live, what you do for a living, and your education level. Where you live, if you're living in the Northeast, the unemployment rate is a little bit over 8%. You're probably having a much easier time than someone who's in the state of Michigan, where unemployment is north of 14%. What you do for a living, if you're coming out of the retail sector, which has been fairly hard hit, you're having a harder time than someone who's in healthcare or accounting or IT or engineering, which are still in demand. And from an education standpoint, the unemployment rate is 4.7% for a person with a college degree, which is less than half of the national average. And interestingly enough, the 4.7% was actually down 10 basis points compared to May, so that actually got better.
Peter, does the data that we're seeing, like you said, you were disappointed, no doubt about it, but it's not as bad as it was when it was 700,000 or above 600,000 in that first quarter. Does it reflect what you're seeing in terms of staffing needs? I mean, are people ramping up demand at all in terms of saying, hey, we need some help here?
Well, I'm not on the staffing side of the Adecco business. The Hecht unit is a career transition and leadership consulting business. Career transitions where we're hired by organizations to help them successfully transition into a new job, new industry, self-employment, even retirement. That business has obviously been very busy, and we've followed the job numbers throughout the year. The first quarter was through the roof. The second quarter started to moderate, and we've come back and had a stronger June, so we're following along with that.
You said transitioning, so what kind of transitions are you seeing the most of?
It varies. People going the self-employment route. Healthcare is very strong.
Right.
Accounting jobs are very strong. IT jobs, a little bit weaker, but there's still demand there. Engineering jobs, there's still demand. In the professional sector, and it's what drives the low unemployment rate for the people with a college degree. There's still a fair amount of demand there. And in those jobs, those skills are transferable across many industries. So you can go from a retail industry to another industry.
Well, beyond the job market, where are you seeing improvement? What indicators are you seeing?
Well, for the candidates that we're serving, we're still placing candidates. The job search process has lengthened a little bit. Probably at about 2 months, closer to 6 months. But again, the factors that I mentioned before, that's just an average. It really doesn't mean something to an individual depending on, where you live and what you do. But we're seeing the strongest strength in the professional services segment for the people that we deal with.
And we've been talking a lot this week, a lot in the healthcare sector as well, too.
Right. Well, healthcare is very strong. It's probably the strongest sector since this began.
Yeah.
I think since December '07, when the recession began, I think we've gained over 475,000 healthcare jobs. So it's leading, all sectors as far as that goes.
Where would you say that you're just still continuing to see so much wreckage when it comes to various industry, when it comes to jobs?
Manufacturing is probably being hit the hardest. Construction, which is not, we don't see it in our business per se, because it's not generally customers that we have, but the manufacturing sector has probably been hit the hardest in the retail sector.
No doubt about it. All right. Hey, Peter, thank you so much for coming in. Have a good weekend. Peter Alcide of Hecht.